Welcome to Softcore History.
What is up? Welcome back to Softcore History. If you're wondering why you're hearing my voice, Rob Fox, for 2 weeks in a row, well, it's because I'm joined, as always, by Dan Regester.
It's because Rob's ego has gone beyond control. Mm-hmm. He has commandeered this ship.
Yes.
He's held us captive, and now he's running the show. Yeah,
I think it's more of a Julius Caesar situation. I took power because I needed to, because I could, and because you guys weren't strong enough to stop me.
It's true.
Yeah.
I have no answer for your sheer brute force.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're talking physical strength, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I physically overpowered Dan, and I humiliated Jake so much that he didn't even show up.
No, he actually, so kind of an announcement for the podcast. Jake went over to do Birthright. He joined the IDF.
He did. He was immediately promoted to sergeant. Mm-hmm. And by the way, promoted to sergeant out of just sheer zealotry for the cause.
He also felt like he was the beta in the situation, so he wanted to kind of prove his worth.
Yes.
And come back and probably de-seat you from your throne.
Yeah. He keeps promising, he's texting us, he's like, you guys, I'm going to get so many scalps. And we were like, that's not even, I don't think that's legal in modern war. Certainly we don't want you to do that.
No.
But he just keeps saying, like, hashtag, like, Scalp City and sending us pictures from Jerusalem and stuff.
I don't even know whose scalps he's taken.
I don't know either.
I think it's just like rocket fire back and forth, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
No, he's working like a desk job in the IDF.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't in good enough shape to do.
No,
they were like, sit your ass behind a desk, bread boy.
It's like, you got to do a few more push-ups. You got to hit that mile time.
Yeah.
Before we send you out into the field.
But he was still just up from behind the desk, sends us text and a picture. Hashtag scalp coming. And we're like, don't hashtag in the text. There's a lot of stuff.
So instead of Jake this week, we brought on our honorary fourth member of Softcore History, a guy who is making all of our memes.
If you like the memes on Softcore History's Instagram, follow it. We got the man making all of them. Alex Buscemi, a.k.a. Boosh, a.k.a. What's Up Boosh on Instagram.
I just keep hearing you guys talking about Rob physically overpowering people, and I'm like, why haven't I gotten any of that? That sounds delightful.
Look, I'll happily put your hair in my mouth later tonight.
Well, there's plenty of it to go around.
I know. Good Lord.
That's why he grows it out.
I know. That's some good.
I'm just waiting for a strong man to put my hair in his mouth, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, it's like in a way, it's like the lion bites the lioness's neck. You know what I mean?
Is that good?
While making love. That's what I'm going to do, but with your mullet on the back of the neck. Yeah.
That's my fantasy. And
yeah.
My girlfriend refuses to put on a strap-on and do it.
Sad. She sounds pretty regressive, if anything.
She's backwards, man.
Dude, sucks. That sucks. Break up with her.
No, she's
Considering
wonderful.
What doesn't sound wonderful? She sounds really just close-minded.
Yeah.
But so close-minded, she's open-minded now.
Is that?
It's a horseshoe theory. Yeah.
Maybe after hearing this podcast, she'll come around.
I hope so. I haven't met her, but I'm rooting for her.
Now that she's heard her regressive ways,
Yeah.
maybe she'll come around.
Opened her eyes. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, man. I haven't been on a podcast in a while, so I'm happy to be back on the mic.
You've been on this podcast a few times, but I don't think, have you been in studio?
Just once. I've been in the studio before.
No, so you've done twice.
Because you did one at my house, too.
Old school at the house
right.
when we recorded on a fucking boom mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one, yeah. Yeah, that was a good time. We talked about...
H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, that was a really good one. That was really interesting stuff.
Audio doesn't really hold up, but, go ahead and listen to that if you want.
Go back anyway. Yeah, it's like our garage band days.
Yeah.
But both figuratively and almost literally. Like, you were more proficient than editing on GarageBand, but,
Yeah, I was getting off my shift at Lifetime Fitness.
Yeah.
And just found some cheap-ass boom mic that we recorded off of, so.
Humble beginnings. And then even before that, we did Inside TFM together.
Yeah, I was
way back in the day.
I was telling the story right before you got here to our boss of our breathalyzer race.
I won.
You did.
By a decent amount.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I just remember you ripping the Rumpelman shots. I mean, we all took Rumpelman shots, but you took a lot. And
It goes down too smooth, man.
it does. It's just minty and fresh, and
It's like Fireball of like
Christmas.
Gen X.
It's Christmas
you know?
Fireball. It is Gen X's Fireball. 100. Oh, that's a great description. And you just started slamming your forehead against the conference room table.
It was
Like you stood up and bam, like just over and over again. Just
It was good content.
I was worried. Like I was like, I
Yeah,
might
if
get
there's
fired.
ever one thing Boosh can never be accused of, it's not being team content.
No, 100% team
It
content.
was good content, man. I remember that. I remember Jared was holding my eyes open at one point. The live comments were very positive, though. They said that one guy on the right is hilarious. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're welcome.
And then you drove home actually that day.
No way I drove. You're incriminating me right now. No, that is not true.
I don't think it's accurate because I don't think he could have operated a car
Yeah, statute of
door.
limitations
No,
are gone,
no,
I
it wasn't
think.
done. Car door. Like I don't
no
think
way
he could have opened a car door.
We were living together, so I imagine you drove me home.
No, I did. Because
Yeah.
I wasn't on that podcast, but I drove you home.
Unless I, maybe sobered up enough and stayed there a while. I don't
There,
know.
you did not have enough time. You would have needed the night to sober up.
So yeah, Boosh was a part of the inside or just the TFM Writer House. Which
Yeah.
consisted of me, him, Boosh, or me, him, Jared, and Harrison, and then we also had another roommate. Boosh actually lived in our living room.
Yeah.
It was just absurd.
He nailed a bed sheet to the door, and then there was a giant opening because it's as soon as you came into the door, so it's a dining room. But we got a giant, what is it, like a Japanese wall that kind of extended out.
The folding walls, yeah. Yeah, and that was like it.
And then he just put a mattress in there
And a
on the
mattress
ground.
On the ground. I still have a mattress on the ground, guy. Fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're looking at this guy on the video right now. I mean, like, that doesn't sound like him at all.
That guy definitely has a bed frame.
Yeah.
And you'd be wrong.
I pretty much am what you get, I guess.
As advertised. Speaking of advertising, please, if you haven't done it already, like the podcast, subscribe to it on iTunes or Spotify and YouTube.
If you like us enough, maybe sign up for Patreon, $5. You get extra content, extra episode every week.
Doing a mailbag this week.
Mailbag this week. Last week we did an extra episode on Hamilton and Burr, street beefs. We did a live watch of The Patriot. There's a lot of good content there. We have a fucking game show with Joel and Coop.
Yeah, with the other history podcast on our network. A lot of good shit. We're doing another mailbag because, again, Jake just threw a wrench in everything this week.
He didn't really even tell us before he left.
No, he didn't.
Didn't even tell his wife.
No, she's furious.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. She sold the dog
She did.
out of anger.
And she was roasting oysters without Jake.
I
on
know,
Saturday.
dude. It was just-
I mean, you guys were trying to comfort her
It was
on
so
Saturday
awkward. Yeah.
with Jake gone.
She cried a lot. It's weird.
That was a beautiful segue, by the way. Speaking of advertising,
Yeah.
that was just smooth.
Then we just go back to Jake. But please subscribe to the Patreon. What's the URL? I mean, you can find it on the website or
Patreon.
on the app by searching Softcore History. But
Patreon.com/softcore history.
boom, and at softcorehistory.com. All
Get
kinds of
some
fun merch. All that shit.
This is all just a giant ruse for the brand.
Yeah, everything's for the brand. Everything everyone does is for the brand.
Yeah.
We're fully corporatized, like America is.
This is capitalism. baby.
Everyone's their own LLC.
Yes.
So here we fucking go. So this week it is my topic again. It was supposed to be Jake's, but I'm pinch hitting for our favorite IDF soldier. And last week, when it was also my topic, we talked about America's brave, quote, technically second discoverers who heroically murdered all the giant nightmare animals that used to call America home up to about 13 to 12,000 years
Why
ago.
would you talk about Native Americans that way? No.
They're heroes. They're heroes. They slaughtered them like heroes. I don't want to live on this continent with the American lion and the short-faced bear. Thank you to the people who found this continent first for ridding it of all these nightmare animals.
And also the other competitive humanoid.
Yes, there was another. Did you know this, by the way? 30,000. They found out that Americans, humans, were in the Americas 30,000 years ago.
So
Double the length of time they thought.
the ones over the Bering Strait weren't the first ones.
They were the second.
Wow.
And
what
we don't
did
know
they
what
look like.
I don't know. Theories include Bigfoot. And that's just my theory. It's Bigfoot.
Yeah, they might still be up there somewhere, bro.
They mostly. But I'm glad they killed those people too, because I don't trust anyone who could live in harmony with those animals. Right?
I don't know. I felt like we could have lived out probably like the Flintstones in some scenarios. Like with the giant armadillo and the giant sloth, they seemed very docile.
They did.
The ground sloths were scary, dude. They were like giant bears, basically.
9 feet tall, but they were still sloths.
Yeah,
Could we have had 9 foot tall pet sloths?
I don't know. I mean, like, were they chill like sloths on the trees today, or were they like fast? And shit?
They certainly weren't fast.
Well, are sloths like koalas where they all have gonorrhea?
It can't be far off.
No,
they're all real.
one and the
I think
same,
they're all
right?
real stupid. Like
Incredibly
a koala.
stupid,
Like because
yes.
koalas have smooth brains. It's where the term smooth brain comes from.
Yeah, I saw that recently. Yeah, and then human brains, we have a ton of
Ton of wrinkles.
Well,
because they're
speak for yourself.
densely packed.
I'm a smooth brain through and through.
Well, it's fine. Takes all sorts.
Have you ever seen a video of a koala doing a mating? It's not a mating call, but they're like, when they're fighting over a tree branch or something, like, this is my tree branch. No, this is my tree branch. They scream at each other, and it sounds like a death metal growl. Like, ooh, ooh.
Like way scarier than it should.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
They're also nasty little fucks, right?
They eat their own shit.
But like they're not good pets. I think they like.
No, they're assholes.
Yeah.
They're
They'll
kind
give
of
you gonorrhea, apparently.
They will give you gonorrhea. Like you
I guess if you
think you
fuck
can
them.
just have sex with a koala, and you can't. And they're jerks for not advertising that.
He told me I didn't need a condom.
Yeah, it's illegal to have sex with someone and not tell them you have a
Right.
STD.
So
That's why I got
class
rid of my
action
koala.
lawsuit against all those koalas
Against
that
koalas,
I fucked.
yes.
You know?
Yeah, they owe you
I think so.
all their eucalypti. But that is what that is. So today, last week we talked about the settling of the Americas and how they fought and valiantly destroyed all those horrifying animals. Today we're flipping that theme on its head. We're talking about a time that human beings lost quite violently in their fight against animals. Human beings might be the top of the food chain, but that doesn't mean we're undefeated. Like as a group even, because we're not. Sometimes animals hand us our lunch by making us their lunch as it goes.
That's nice. I like that.
Thank you.
So we're not talking about the Great Emu War. in
I thought that's
Australia.
exactly where this was going.
That is not what we will be talking about, but I was going to mention some other famous elves, and the first one was the Great Emu War.
Okay.
But this is not the main one.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about. I was actually literally about to get into that. So there are a few examples. Like I said, humans aren't undefeated. We're the champions, but we're like a 12-4 Super Bowl winner, or I guess 13-4 now Super Bowl winner. You know what I mean? Elite team, but you're going to lose some games.
Yeah. There's no undefeated Super Bowl champion since the
Just one.
Dolphins.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
So that happens. So the first, there are other examples, but not as bad as our main course. So the first one is the Emu War in Australia. So if you know what that is, you know the Emu War?
Yeah, there's just a shit ton of emus in Australia, and they couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah, so in the Great Depression, a bunch of World War I veterans in Australia had been given land in some shitty part of Western Australia, and they were encouraged by the government during the Depression to grow wheat, and the government was going to give them subsidies for it or whatever. They never did because everyone was broke. So they started growing wheat, but emus flock from one part of Australia to the other. I forget what it is. I think it's like central to the western coast or something like that. Anyway, the emus, about 20,000, flocked to where all these farmers were growing wheat and started just 20,000 of them started just obliterating the crops. So the Australian army, the literal Australian army, was sent with heavy weapons like Lewis guns, which were light machine guns used in World War I, like have quite a body count of Germans and Austrians and whatnot, to kill all these dumb, flightless birds in Western Australia during the Great Depression. And yeah, the emus were destroying crops pretty much the way hogs do now. They were just pulling
I was
a hog.
about to say the feral hog comparison. That's an ongoing war.
It
Well,
is.
I was going to say,
that we are still losing.
I was going to say, are the hogs winning?
Yeah, I mean, when you get 30 to 50 hogs together,
Feral hogs barreling towards your children.
yeah, I remember when that guy got dragged on Twitter.
He was right though, man.
He was right.
He was right.
He was.
You need assault weapons.
You do.
It's just because a bunch of people in like Brooklyn and Chicago were like, "What is this redneck talking about?"
It's like,
bro.
you ain't seen the shit.
Yeah,
I live in Austin, but there's enough ranches not too far away that you can bump into a lot of people who are like, yeah, dude, those feral hogs have fucked up my property.
And we've talked about this before. They stack on top of each other, kind of like World War Z.
yeah.
They're just
they
climbing
have no. They don't care about themselves.
No
Like,
regard for human
feed.
or their life.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to hunt them out of helicopters.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen awesome footage too of like people on the back of Jeeps like chasing them down with ARs and
Yeah,
like
popping
night
'em.
vision. That would be
but
so
they
fun.
fuck so much, and they have like litters, and like there's just so many of them. We aren't losing the war with the hogs. We lost the war with the hogs. Much the same way the Australians could not, despite having literal machine guns and an actual army, and no one fighting back against them, could not kill the emus.
They ran out of bullets.
I guess, man. They ran out of. Was it just like Vietnam? Like the people were just tired of it. They're like, we got to pull out. Like they lost a political war.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think just they were, at a certain point, you just feel this despair of not being able to accomplish your goal in a certain limited amount of time.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, that you just
We
are
should've done
emotionally,
this by now.
mentally, and spiritually defeated.
Yeah. And you just got to leave. And also the emus, if you don't know, they called in reinforcements because they were fucking up the fences so bad that it let rabbits in. So there was like a secondary force also fucking up the crops. I mean, it was really just force multiplication, and they couldn't kill these giant flightless birds with machine guns.
This was Australia's Vietnam,
Yeah.
I guess. Right?
They
was.
called in the woodland creatures, or the critters,
Yeah,
for reinforcement.
they did. Speaking of which, in terms of if you want to know how wild rodents are in Australia, there was recently, like a year or two ago, a real bad mouse situation there. Just Google like Australia mouse swarm on, or YouTube it or whatever, and like literally it's like farmers going outside in the middle of the night, and there's just like tens of thousands of mice like carpeting the fucking floor,
Oh my god,
carpeting the fucking ground.
dude, fuck Australia, dude. I don't think I'll ever go there.
It's just everything deadly, poisonous.
Just the common
24-hour
spiders
flight
there,
or whatever.
Yeah,
like bigger than this flag behind you.
yeah.
It is like a whole day flight, right, to get to Australia?
Yeah. So Hawaii's like 8 hours, so I would assume Australia is at least 16. No, it's got to be like 20. Yeah, it's a whole day.
But
Now, granted, though, when you're on those planes, on a plane that goes to Australia, it's like the right way to fly.
So another one of those classic internet hypotheticals that always circles around every 6 months, every 12 months, is they give you different options of you have to choose 2 of these, and you have to fight against the rest of them. And one of the options was always 10,000 rats.
Right.
And I think that was always a perfect, like, that's your first choice. I think 10,000 rats should
On your
always be
side.
should always be on your side.
Yes. 100%. Because what's something like 3 gorillas or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 2 gorillas, like maybe 3 lion. or
2
like
gorillas
6 wolves.
do not have the stamina
Couple
to
hawks.
smash 10,000 rats to death.
No.
Those rats will consume those gorillas in minutes.
You'd need a flamethrower to have a chance at that.
Literally. Those 10,000 rats alone will kill everything else.
There was like one guy with a gun. Fuck that.
That guy's useless.
He's pretty useless.
I mean, maybe if it's like a Gatling gun or like a mini gun or whatever, and like he gets to sit back at range, you know, he might, but still the rats win.
The rats always win.
Yeah. And the one rat bite, if all you need is one rat to get to your neck as they World War Z up your body.
Yeah.
And then one just gets in the fucking neck and rips your artery open.
Yeah, in this scenario, they're essentially the beetles from The Mummy.
The scarabs, yeah.
Scarabs,
yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there a one of the guys in Suicide Squad? Not Suicide Squad, but the other one that came. Or it was Suicide Squad, I think. The
Will
one
Smith.
with James Gunn. Yeah, one of the guys could control rats or something. I don't know. I might be remembering it wrong. I swear there's like a supervillain that has rat control powers.
The Pied Piper.
The Pied Piper of rats.
I just Googled that just to see. Otis Flanagan, better known as the Rat Catcher. That might have been in the second.
Iteration.
Yeah, the one with James Gunn that was actually good.
Oh, that was the second one. Yeah, yeah.
There
that
was a
wasn't
rat guy in the second one, right? Or the remake of Suicide Squad. It was like a rat creature. who like dies but then revives at the end. Spoiler alert.
Is that the case?
Not that much.
Whatever.
We'll proceed.
Yeah. Another one. Tell me if you heard of this one. Another time humans lost to animals in a fight. And I'm not talking like, a human getting killed by a fucking lion or something like that. I'm talking like numbers versus numbers, right? Like obviously plenty of humans have been killed by fucking animals, shark attacks or whatever. I'm talking about like.
Well, I mean, shark attacks don't even come close to hippo attacks.
Right. But I'm not talking about one-on-one action here. So the next one, I don't know if you heard of this one.
Which, speaking of which, are we going to talk about hippos?
No.
We're not going to talk about Pablo Escobar's hippo problem?
No, that's not really, that's more of a passive problem.
Okay.
They're just there.
I also heard they wanted to introduce hippos into Louisiana at one point. Like the American government had a plan to do that because there was like, it would be like a food source for people because they were like all starving.
Who the fuck eats hippo?
Well, and it was going to like kill the gators or something. I don't know.
Oh, they would absolutely murder the gators.
It was like they considered it. But
We for sure lost the war to the hippos, Pablo Escobar's hippos down there. But we also lost the war to pythons in Florida. They're just rampant now.
Ongoing, yes, but probably losing. But that's not one either because that's not really. We're not really toe to toe with the python per se.
No, they're pets that they got too big and
Yeah.
they were released into the wild.
That's another one. That's ongoing. I'm
But
talking
it's
ones
invasive.
that are kind of settled. Yeah, but these ones are more settled. Okay, like the Emu War was lost. This next one, have you heard of Mao Zedong's Four Pests campaign during Communist China's Great Leap Forward?
No.
So
I'm familiar.
Mao Zedong, during the Great Leap Forward, declared that there were 4 pests that all citizens should kill because they were bad for China, and it's a good like little patriotic duty that everyone can do. They were encouraged to kill mosquitoes. Fair enough. They spread malaria. That was why. Mm-hmm. They were encouraged to kill rats and rodents because they spread the plague. Fair, fine, great. They're encouraged to kill flies. Great, whatever, sure. And the fourth thing of the 4 pets, that's FOUR, the 4 pests campaign, that they were encouraged to kill was...
Uyghur Muslims?
That's a new one.
Oh, okay.
It's a new one. The Eurasian tree sparrow.
Okay.
Sparrows were the 4th pest that they were like, kill these motherfuckers. Because I guess the sparrows supposedly ate up to 4 pounds of grain per sparrow a year.
Honestly, you can make an argument. Sparrow was one of the worst Pokemon.
Sparrow?
Yeah, it was just a bird with a stick. Like,
He
so
stunk.
uncreative.
And then
No,
when
that's
he
far-fetched.
evolved...
how did he even
Yeah,
hold the stick,
He
though?
evolved
He
into
had wings.
Farfetch.
No, Farfetch'd was its own thing.
Who did Sparrow
Sparrow evolved into another shittier version of Sparrow.
Most of the
And then there
birds
was
sucked.
Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot.
Pidgeot was the best, but like most of the bird Pokemon sucked.
I mean, then there was the Zapdos one was badass, though. Like there was
the
there was
legendary,
Yeah,
yeah.
the legendary birds were fucking sick.
Anything you could teach fly is a good Pokemon.
It's just saving you time.
Yeah. Well, and also it's a good attack. It's like dig. You fly up, they can't hit you, and then you...
Yeah, they would just be gone from the screen for a whole attack. I remember that. And then you'd be like, they couldn't attack, and then you just...
Yeah, you fuck them up. Fly and dig are the 2 best moves in Pokemon.
Well, you dig to
Yeah.
avoid fly.
That's the only way.
You could do that. And then Zapdos would miss.
Yeah. So Chinese citizens were especially excited to kill the sparrows. They're the most, I don't know. I mean, the rats are too, I guess, but they're kind of the most easy to see of the animals. So Chinese citizens started hunting down these sparrows en masse, killed their chicks and smashed. They would like go out and find nests to kill baby birds.
Now,
and
what was the
smash the eggs.
justification for this?
That they ate 4 pounds of grain per sparrow a year. So the sparrows were stealing food from
That's
the Chinese
not even
people.
a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where
4
Easter
pounds
egg
an
hunts
entire
come
year.
from. That's where Easter egg hunts come from. Let's all go smash the baby birds, children.
So we can have food. And
When you said 4 pests, I thought you meant like 4 pests, pest rights.
yeah, woo! No, FOUR. Not a lot of rights. The Chinese government is for. It's mostly against rights.
Yeah.
So they hunted down these sparrows. One thing they would do also is they would find trees that they were nesting in, and they would all just hang out and bang drums, because what that would do is it would make the sparrows like get up and fly constantly, and it would like the sparrows just like instinctively, if they hear the noise, they're not gonna fucking settle down and nest. So it would drive them to exhaustion, and they would just drop dead out of the sky or out of their nests.
How long would you have to bang the drum?
A minute, and they would fucking like not 1 minute. I mean like a while.
Yeah,
And they would
hot minute. Yeah.
fucking do it until these things died.
It's just the bird call.
The opposite of one, I guess. This was like a really fun national patriotic thing they did. Like these people were fucking into it. They loved killing these birds, and they drove this sparrow to extinction, more or less. Like they did it. Like they killed all these fucking birds.
So it seems like good or a point for the good guys, human beings.
Yeah, mission accomplished, right?
Go humans.
The Chinese might have won the battle.
But they lost the war.
They lost the war because, you see, the sparrows might have eaten some grain or whatever.
They also ate bugs.
Yeah, they ate mostly bugs, including a hot little insect called the locust.
Oof.
So what happened
Those
was...
are bad. Those are always bad.
Without a natural...
Well, they are technically a plague every time, right?
Yeah. Without a natural predator anymore, locust populations in China fucking exploded, and the crops were wiped out.
Time to eat your dog, little boy. Sorry. That's where it comes from in China. They've had so many plagues that, like, that's why they're very open about eating things
Other
that
stuff.
we'd never consider, because they're like, dude, we got to eat that dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of giving a sparrow 4 pounds, they get 0 food left.
Yeah. So this sent the already ongoing Chinese famine from bad to really fucking awful. The Great Chinese Famine, if you haven't heard of it, killed up to 50 million people.
Jesus.
So I don't know how many sparrows they killed.
And that doesn't even count
but
Mao Zedong's kill count.
This is part of Mao Zedong.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So up to about 50 million people were killed. I don't know how many sparrows they got, but feels like a tie at best.
Yeah. That one backfired, Mao.
Eventually, the Chinese had to take sparrows off of the pest list and import new ones from the Soviet Union so something would eat the fucking locusts. So yeah, 0 for 2. It's another hard L that human beings took to animals.
Fucking with the ecosystems, man. That's never going to work out in our favor, I feel like.
No, and by the way, the sparrow thing, I mentioned it here. We could do a whole episode on that one. I'm just kind of footnoting it. There is way more bananas information about it. Just wild stories of killing birds.
How do you actually kill these tiny birds?
Mostly exhaustion and finding their nests and smashing their eggs and shit like that. Okay. But like there are certain stories of mass killings of them. I won't get into it now, but
just like catching it out of the air and snapping its neck.
Dude, they would try to they would shoot them out of the air with guns and shit, like anything. I mean, they went fucking wild. It's insane. So yeah,
they should have just done DDT like America did.
Right? Yeah, just chemical the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have a DuPont or a...
Yeah, this was
maybe they were making...
probably well before then, I guess, right?
It was probably before they were making our chemicals, where they could just pull them out of the fat. We're going to use a couple. Is that all right? We got some sparrows. We just got to drop a little bit on these guys. You can have the rest. But no, they didn't do that then. The next one...
So are you saying, was it Monsanto?
Monsanto?
They're the real heroes here.
Monsanto is a heroic company, for sure, yeah. Yeah, I've always said that. They're from St. Louis. I've always been a huge Monsanto stan.
I think, actually, this podcast is presented by Monsanto.
Yeah, 100%.
Go ahead and check out their product. Promo code SOFTY.
Yeah. You a farmer? Need chemicals? Do you need to kill all the bees on your property and make your corn the size of you? Use the promo code SOFTY at monsanto.com/softcore.
Oh my God. 20% off.
Yeah. This next one you've probably heard of. It's an American loss, an American military loss to animals. We took an L as well.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Have you heard of the USS Indianapolis?
Not in the context of losing to animals.
Okay. Have you?
No, but can I guess?
Sure.
Was it sunk? Was this a ship that sunk?
Yes.
Oh, this is the sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about this then.
Wait, shark? All right.
They were all like stranded in the water and the sharks just fucking ate all of them.
Yeah. So the USS Indianapolis, I don't know if you knew this part of it, was tasked with taking the atomic bomb over to the airfield that it was launched off of on the Enola Gay.
Well, this seems problematic.
So what that means is that it was a top secret mission and no one could know
That they were stranded.
no one knew their route. No one was allowed to know anything. So they delivered the bomb, obviously. Like, they got the bomb to the airfield, and then they left. But they also weren't allowed to say they were leaving. Like, that ship was never there, right? Like,
Oh, man.
fully classified. So, didn't have any escorts, was all alone in the ocean, radio silence, wasn't allowed to say where they were, or anything like that. And who should they happen on the way home but a Japanese submarine that torpedoed the shit out of it, found a juicy ship alone. No aircraft carriers around, no airfields around. They can't even allowed to call it in. Not that the Japanese knew that. Torpedoed it, ship sank. U.S. sailors stranded in shark-infested waters. No one knew they were there. They weren't allowed to say they were there, to call while the ship was sinking, anything like that. So for, I think, like 5 or 6 days before being found, they were just, all these bloodied sailors were in these shark-infested waters being picked off.
Now, is that an issue being bloody in water?
Yeah, it's suboptimal if you're in sharky waters to be actively bleeding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this
This is
tracks
why
the sharks.
It does, which is why a great way to murder your wife is to
Take her out
To Australia.
like a little dinghy when she's on her period.
when she's menstruating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just kind of pushing her over.
Well, no, you just go swimming. Like, come on, babe, let's go a little further.
Oh, yeah, we're going to scuba dive. Or, no,
Yeah.
we're going to snorkel.
yeah. it's
Hey,
fun.
babe, let's race to that dinghy over there. Then you just go the other way.
Yeah. Great way to murder your wife. Not that I thought of that. Not that that's an original idea that I thought of and am currently plotting. I'm just saying it happens.
Yeah.
That's the opening scene of Jaws, I believe.
No.
It is. She was a little too clingy. But you don't know the backstory from the people in Jaws. Is like they didn't meet that night. She's just like they used to date and they ran into each other, and she wanted to like get back together, and he was like,
He noticed the tampon like packages in her bag. And
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm
go
staying
swimming.
on shore.
yeah, let's go swimming. I'll just hold on. I'm gonna lay down. You go out. You swim for a while first. I'll join you.
The perfect crime.
Fingers crossed. Came true.
That takes care of your wife. Now about your little bastard son. Little Magneto with his helmet.
Oh, I love him. He's great.
Okay.
Keeping him around.
All right. For now.
Real chick magnet.
For now.
Yeah.
Single dad.
Yeah, dude. People love it. I've heard. I don't know.
Widow.
I don't think about this stuff. Yeah, widower, as they call it. I wouldn't know anything about any of this stuff.
No,
I don't think about it.
No.
By the way, the USS Indianapolis is mentioned in the movie Jaws. When that guy gives the speech on the boat, he's like, when he's like, shark's eyes are black like doll's eyes.
He was on that boat.
Yeah, he was like, because Richard Dreyfuss was like, you were on the Indianapolis? And he was like,
Oh, yeah. I think there's actually a movie about the USS Indianapolis.
starring
as
Nicolas
well.
Cage.
No way.
Yeah, that was
Really?
one of his I need to pay my tax money back movies.
I thought there was like an older one. But, dude, that sounds like it could be a really good one.
I know. It's the Nicolas Cage movie is like a real B-movie budget situation.
Man, that was like a true story, too. That needs like
wild
A-list.
fuck- I know.
That needs like A-list treatment.
That would be an incredible horror movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're talking about The Rock that way.
The Rock is the greatest action movie ever made.
I agree.
Now, you know what would be a good movie? An alternate history where the sharks, where they get sunk before they deliver the bomb, radioactive sharks.
Ooh. And then I would make a sequel, or I would just make
They're
a
just
sequel.
like super crazy sharks that are just like jacked up, like, like
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, except they don't like eat pizza. They just
Isn't
murk
that just the
everybody.
plot?
People.
to
What if they
Deep Blue
make
Sea?
pizzas that the people are on? They put people on their pizzas.
That would be a nice touch. Pineapple and people pizza.
What another way to do it is make the movie super duper serious, like super stone cold serious, like the movie Pearl Harbor, But you can't end on a down note with the people losing to the sharks. The same way Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor refused to end on a down note by just Pearl Harbor happening. How they added the Doolittle raid at the end of it so that America could have a little woo at the end of it. So you do the USS Indianapolis, but then they go home, or they go back to the base, and then they get on planes and they come back and bomb the sharks, and they win.
There we go.
They beat the sharks.
Dude, that's why the original Pearl Harbor movie was like way better. I feel like they had one in like the 50s.
Tora. I think it was in the 70s.
Yeah, and it was just us getting murked, and then the credits rolled as the smoke went into the sky.
Right.
I believe, and it was like the most like real explosions in a movie ever. I think because the Michael Bay one had CGI.
Yeah.
But the original Pearl Harbor movie, it was just like explosions. It was a sick fucking movie.
There's also, we need to watch this for the Patreon at some point. There's like an alt history movie. I think Martin Sheen is in it, and it's like this battleship.
Apocalypse Now.
What?
Apocalypse Now.
Yes, alt history. We never invaded Vietnam. That's a lie, and everyone knows it. There's an alt history movie. I think it's a U.S. aircraft carrier from like the 80s. Gets sucked into a time warp on like December 5th, December 5th, like 1941.
Oh, Sliders?
Kinda. I guess. I don't fucking know. And
who could forget that hit series?
It was good.
It was good.
I enjoyed
Sliders
it.
was awesome.
But this
Did
fucking...
you watch Sliders
No.
on Sci-Fi?
It's just
No.
going into alt... It was the OG multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
The only sci-fi show I watched was that one where they would prank people with like scaring them.
Oh.
And it would be like they'd be like
That one was dope.
It was like, "Hey, can you help us out? We're delivering a baby." And then like a midget painted red like jumps out from under the sheets and is like, "Ah!" And she's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, like a werewolf pops out. And
Yeah, and they're like, "Are you scared?"
Like
and they're like, "Yeah, I'm scared." Well, you're on Scare Encounters.
I think it's Scare
or-
Tactics.
Scare Tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one, dude.
Isn't that just also the, I guess, conspiracy theory of the Philadelphia experiment, where they just sent a ship through a wormhole
that one was not...
and the people melted into the ship?
Yeah, but that one wasn't multiverses. That was...
Just super
that was...
quick travel
what do you call it? Teleporting.
from Baltimore to Philly.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. That was teleporting, but they couldn't...
Like
They couldn't
45
get the
seconds.
coordinates right, so people were like stuck in a wall, like, kill me!
Oh, that's
They
so
just-
sick.
They got Han Solo'd.
Not even. No, they did. They wish they got
Into
Han
the
Solo.
steel.
No, they got like cut in half by a wall, and they're like, help me.
Oh my god, what movie is this?
No, that's like an actual conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
that Tesla opened up a wormhole and they sent a ship through from Philadelphia to Baltimore.
I think this was during World War II, actually.
No, I think it was Tesla.
It wasn't Tesla.
It was.
It was not Nikola Tesla.
It was.
I'm positive.
All right.
I'll fact check that.
Did you
later.
guys
Well, you can
ever-
just do an episode on it.
All right.
Did you guys ever read the series of, it was like horror shorts released in Reddit comments? And it became known as the Interface series, but it talked about that. It talked about...
Oh,
like-
really?
Yeah, and it was really, because he would comment on like a funny photo of like a dog like looking cute in a bumblebee costume, but he would just have this really cryptic, creepy comment. And like people would track the guy and he would just like told this story in like scattered bits throughout Reddit. And it became known as the
that's fucking
Interface
rad.
series. It's sick, dude. Look it up, the
John
Interface
Titter?
series. What?
John Titter, who predicted 9/11.
Oh, I don't know him.
That's a deep internet reference. Never mind.
Fair enough. Anyway,
Look that one up too, guys.
that's another L that humans took against animals, the USS Indianapolis. Now, those all
It sounds like we lost to the Japanese there.
well, the sharks cleaned up.
Yeah, the sharks were just scavengers.
Well, they won.
Yeah.
They were there. Right place, right time.
The sharks were just the little sand people in Tatooine, just picking up
Jawas?
all the extra metal.
Okay. Sure. Picking up the extra flesh. So all of those sound pretty bad, except for the emu one. That was just funny. But none of these are as horrifying. Would have been like I would have happily done any of those things over what happened also in the Pacific during World War II on Ramree Island. Have you heard of this?
You hear about this?
You know about this?
Hear about this?
Hear about this? Ramree Island, today it's part of Myanmar. Then it was Burma. At the outset of World War II,
I still can't tell you where either of those
Is it the
are.
snakes?
it's on the other side of Thailand. Like here's Thailand, here's Myanmar.
Okay.
Okay. Snakes are involved. We'll talk about it. In December, it was owned by the British Empire before the war in 1941, right after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese attack.
And what wasn't?
Right, exactly. In 1941, the Japanese attacked. They took over the country by May 1942. There was fighting in and around Burma throughout the war, but essentially the Allies finally, like, legit attempted to liberate Burma starting in late 1944. On January 14th, 1945, British and Indian forces attacked Ramree Island in particular to capture an important port and also to build an airfield on it to launch operations in the rest of Southeast Asia against the Japanese. The operation was a success. Okay, there were about 1,500 Japanese defenders. They were beaten back from their positions with like pretty much handily. Like the British lost so few people that they described their losses as quote unquote trifling. That's literally what it says on Wikipedia. There's no number. It just says trifling.
I never knew the British went head to head with the Japanese.
They did. Not a ton of them, but the British.
When they did, they crushed.
Yeah,
They're
well,
like, why are you Yanks having so much trouble with them?
Yeah. Well, it was the British and the Indians fighting them, so I assume when they say trifling, it just means only Indians died.
Yeah.
So
Send in the cannon fodder.
Yeah, it's just like 20,000 Indians died. It says trifling losses. Thankfully,
Trifling number.
Bert was shot in the foot, but he's gonna be all right. So the losses were trifling.
He lost a toe.
Oh, I remember that now, like, because there was like a photo. It was like Winston Churchill. Oh no, he was old at that point. Oh no, it was World War I though. Like Winston Churchill and Gandhi like fought in the same battle alongside each other at some point.
On each other's shoulders, actually.
Yeah, Gandhi was on top with a spear, just
Riding Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
After being driven from their positions, the badly beaten Japanese retreated into the dense jungle and swamps of Ramree Island. They, of course, had no intention of surrendering because that's what the Japanese did. They crashed planes into fucking battleships. People didn't surrender.
And it was kind of, I know it's an Archer episode, but it was true that people who kind of got abandoned on these islands didn't know the war would end, and they just kept continuing.
Kept fighting.
They just held their post till the 70s.
Yeah, literally. And so that's what these Japanese guys were doing. These Japanese soldiers, these 1,000 Japanese soldiers who survived the battle, retreated into the jungles and swamps to hold out, to fucking regroup, and to fucking fight. The problem with these jungles and swamps, though, was the stuff that lived in them.
Usually not the place you want to be.
No. So fun fact about Burma.
Don't really want to build a society in a jungle or a swamp.
No, and I kind of have this, like, obviously totally unsubstantiated theory that most of the major civilizations in world history in Asia, North Africa, Europe, and the Americas are all in the, like, moderate temperate zone because they don't have to deal with all the fucked up shit that entails, like, essentially, like the tropics, like the jungle areas, or like obviously the Arctic, like anywhere super cold is hard to build much of anything in.
So you're saying some place like the Congo will never be stable?
I'm saying it's not easy to build a country in the Congo. Certainly a lot easier to make one in Germany than it is in the Congo. And by the way, the Romans had that theory too. Obviously, it's obviously bullshit. But really, like, it's got to be easier to get your, like, city going when there's not, like, poisonous spiders wandering into your home every night or something. I kind of think. But, you know, the people.
So you're also saying Arizona is not a stable.
It's not.
No.
It's certainly not.
Neither is Australia.
No, those people are walking on fucking thin ice. Any day, that country can just fucking fall into a pit. So fun fact about Burma / now Myanmar, nearly 1/3 of the 150 species of snakes in that country are venomous. Roughly 50% more people die from snake bites in Myanmar today with modern medicine than in any other country. 8% instead of 4%. So you're 50%, or you're 100% more likely, 100% more likely to die of a snake bite in Burma, Myanmar, than you are in any other country on earth.
Fuck that country.
Amputations.
Wouldn't live there.
No, yeah, right. It's also got a real problem with genocide these days, I believe.
Ooh, yeah. If it's the snakes don't get you, it's gonna be the genocide.
Yeah, it's going to be one or the other. Amputations are also extremely common. And again, fun fact I learned while researching this, your natural urge to run away from the poisonous snake that's just bitten you, or venomous snake that's just bitten you, will probably kill you because they almost certainly bit you in the leg, and that'll get your blood pumping, which will get the venom running through you way faster. So the first thing you have to do when you're confronted with a venomous snake that's biting the shit out of your leg is to really just chill out and take it easy.
That's tough.
Yeah, you got to actually get big, right? You got to scare your leg.
Is that why they're all Buddhist down there?
Yeah, it's just you need to be really fucking serene in
At
that
all
part of the
times.
world. So, by the way, literally, when I Googled all this stuff, multiple articles came up on the first page of Google, entitled "Myanmar's Snakebite Menace." Like, it's just a fucking problem there. Like, they have a shit ton of snakes that will fuck you up, including the Russell's viper, whose venom will cause pain, swelling, bleeding, and unless the venom is treated quickly, it can cause a respiratory failure, kidney failure, and heart failure.
I don't want to fuck with vipers. I don't want to fuck with cobras.
Well-
Cobras are scary.
Well, there's two cobras that live in this part of the world.
Cobras are terrifying.
The king cobra,
So scary.
who can kill you within an hour of a bite. Mm-hmm. And here, this sounds fun, the Indo-Chinese spitting cobra. It's a cobra that can spit its venom at its target, causing pain and possible blindness, like a Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Although-
Newman got it bad.
If I lived there, I'd probably just carry a flute at all times.
There are snake charmers there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is actually, I read about this guy who has tattoos with snake venom in them, which has made him like more immune to the venom than the average person. So
That's badass.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking
That sounds like
hard.
something out of a fucking like sci-fi movie, but it's true, huh?
Yeah. Unfortunately for these Japanese soldiers, they had no such tattoos. There's also the branded crate. It's the yellow and black snake, and it can fuck you up real bad too. There's also a non-venomous snake that lives in the jungles and swamps of
Anaconda?
close. We were talking about it earlier. The Burmese Python, the one that can get up to 20 feet long, has been known to kill human beings in that area of the world. Yeah.
I don't know which way I'd rather go. Strangulation from a giant python?
You're not strangled by them.
They just eat you?
You're crushed to death.
Well, they're still
Oh, that's
wrapping.
even worse. I
That's
hope I
way worse.
strangled-
They're still constricted
You're
around you.
but
Just
you're
like-
crushed before you suffocate.
You just all your bones break and you die of internal bleeding, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
You die of like 1,000 hemorrhages at once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that lives there too. There's also 8-inch centipedes with venomous bites. One killed a girl in the Philippines not that long ago. So this is
Try to explain that when in the afterlife. Yeah, I died from a centipede bite.
on the head. Killed her within a day. So this is the stuff the Japanese had to deal with retreating into these godforsaken swamps to hold out until question mark, I guess, against the
They're
British.
still there. Yeah.
No, they're not. They're super not. And we'll get into why. And by the way, even though the Imperial Japanese were like a literal evil empire, I do kind of feel bad for these soldiers because when Americans think of like wars in this part of the world, they basically think of Nam and like, like gross jungles full of fucked up shit.
They're just following orders.
Right. Well, they kind of were.
Yeah.
But they also super weren't. The Japanese soldiers were fucked up. The thing is, though, like in Nam, like, yeah, the people native to Vietnam were used to sort of the jungle life or whatever and all this fucked up stuff that comes in the jungle because they were from there. But East Asia is obviously massive. Like, it's not just all jungle and shit like that. And Japan's climate is essentially if you took America from Appalachia east and like from Maine to Florida. Like it's the same. It's pretty moderate, pretty temperate. You've got some tropics. You've got some fucking like snow and mountains and stuff like that. But it's really like it doesn't get too far outside of the range of like it doesn't really get into like fucked up range.
It's also pretty civilized. It wasn't like just jungle.
Right. It was a really modern country in the 30s and 40s and stuff like that. So like these Japanese soldiers, like they grew up in like Tokyo and and shit like that. Like they're not any more used to this than a British soldier fighting them from London is at all. Like this place is just as horrifying to them. Like it's not like the Burmese guerrilla fighters who were fighting them, a little more used to the jungle, right? They're from there and shit like that. These Japanese soldiers, no tolerance for that shit any more than you or I would have. That sucks. Because you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't know, maybe they're kind of... No, they're not.
Yeah, I always considered they were just because, like, the way they fought, like, all the movies and stuff, they're just, like, hiding in, like, the brush, and then they come out with, like, you know, a headpiece that's a bush on. And
every Clint Eastwood movie has taught me that the Japanese were used to this.
Yeah, they were, like, one with the nature. It always was portrayed that way.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So these guys, like I said, they're having basically the same experience you or I would in this. Also, in this part of the world, it's so fucking humid that it makes Houston's worst day feel like Denver's best day. Like just inside, you're just inside of like 1,000 scrotums. Like it's just fucking, fucking terrible. Just sweaty and gross.
You're inside of 1,000 scrotums.
It's bad. So the Japanese retreat into this thick, muddy, nearly impenetrable swamp inhabited by horrible creatures. The British forces do not follow them in.
Rightfully so.
They just surround the swamp. Because there's something else in the swamp, too. I haven't even gotten to the worst thing.
Malaria.
Komodo dragons? Like, I don't know.
The saltwater crocodile.
Oh, boy.
A whole fucking lot of saltwater crocodiles. So these wounded, bleeding, screaming, stinking 1,000 Japanese soldiers who were weak and retreating from a horrible battle splashed and ran their way through the deepest part of Ramree Island's mangrove swamps. And the saltwater crocodiles closed in. And the saltwater crocodile, unlike, say, an African crocodile that you see taking down zebras and shit, or an alligator from Florida or whatever.
Right. Gators are chill.
Yeah, the saltwater crocodile actually has a reputation for eating people. Like, they actually will eat a person, no questions asked.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. It's not like an accident, like, oh, well, that person like kept like slapping it on the face or something. Like, they'll eat a person. They will eat fucking anything. These things are older than dinosaurs. They are the perfect predator.
Well, they can't die of old age.
Right, they just get bigger and bigger. So the saltwater crocodile, it is literally the largest reptile on Earth. The average male clocks in at 17 feet long and 1,000 pounds. They can get up to 23 feet long.
Jesus Christ.
They can get up to 23 feet long.
That they know of.
And 2,200 pounds. And they mostly hunt at night. So the Japanese soldiers, about 1,000 of them, attempted to move and regroup through this swamp. And the crocodiles began picking off the wounded and the unsuspecting and the people who just were literally stuck in the mud. And like I said, they mostly hunted at night. Japanese soldiers would literally be sitting there in the pitch black with these animals closing in, along with all those other animals I mentioned, everywhere around them, living like slithering everything around them. There were no lights. They couldn't turn on their lights. They couldn't make a fire because they didn't want to give away their position to the British. So they had to sit here in the fucking dark. A fire might have been able to, maybe keep a croc away or something. And they were essentially like not really grouped well together. So it was essentially lone people or groups of 1 to like 4 people or something like that, sitting there in the dark, listening as their friends, like their brothers in arms, are being taken under and ripped apart by these giant fucking dinosaurs.
Jesus Christ.
So they're just living out the plot to that movie Annihilation.
Kinda.
Where they're
except nobody's turning into flowers.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to be a flower.
There's no weird lighthouse situation going on.
Yeah.
They never reach it.
I never saw the movie, but I know the book is by this guy named Jeff Vandermeer, who just writes it's such weird shit that you can't even get through it.
I thought it was good for like 2/3 of the movie.
Annihilation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just read his short stories, and
Yeah.
they're insufferable.
Why?
They're just so weird. You're like, what the hell is happening?
I didn't really like Annihilation.
Short stories do
again,
get a little weirder. Maybe his novels are better.
2/3 solid, and then he just couldn't close.
I liked his early writings. Jeff Vandermeer, if you're listening by some chance, I liked your earlier work. I just don't like the really weird shit.
Jeff, take
Which is odd because you're a really weird dude.
Yeah, but like the
So, like,
weird, I am a weird dude, but the weird writing where I don't even know what's happening in the plot, and
Right.
it's just like symbolic.
Sometimes you're just gaping at your own asshole. You're just
Yeah.
blowing yourself, right? You just it's navel gazing.
That is just a typical Friday afternoon for myself.
Yeah.
Just a little mirror time. So British.
make it talk like, hey, Alex,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Hello. Hi, Alex. You having a good day? I'm
I
hungry.
mean, I do think people need to look at their own buttholes
Yeah.
every now and then, right?
Yeah.
See what's going on down there. See if there's any rashes brewing.
You gotta take care of your butthole.
Yeah, if you want your girl to
Get
lick
after
it,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta get in there.
Just for your general health, too.
yeah,
you know.
you don't want to have like a forest of dingleberries.
No.
Probably can't be good for
Like, your life is only as good as your asshole's life.
And also, why not teach your partner how to check your prostate so you don't have to have some doctor do it?
Exactly, and she's not going to want to check your prostate if she has to wade through a sea of shit.
No. But I do actually recommend presenting your doctor with the dirtiest asshole you possibly can.
Yeah, just to let him know, like,
Who's
like,
in charge?
Yeah, I have to pay $100 for this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my
He
revenge.
has a glove on.
You think
it's not
you're
a big deal.
think you're better than me with that medical degree?
Well, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I haven't wiped in a week.
I assume they'd just turn you away. Like they'd just be like, I'm gonna get some medical wipes here.
He's like, I haven't looked at it, but you probably have cancer. If you haven't
Yeah.
wiped this long,
Yeah.
you're not taking care of yourself. I'm just gonna assume that you have
You have
all of the cancer.
Every cancer possible.
You don't think they just make you sit on a bidet?
The medical bidet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an extra $2,000 onto the bill.
Right.
My plan has backfired. Damn it.
The doctor's like, awesome, another dirty asshole. I'm pulling in the cash today. Holy shit.
Add it to the bill.
Yeah, it's just a fucking ka-ching. So
There's
British.
like a conspiracy where it's like, my asshole was clean, damn it. He's lying.
Damn.
So
Doctors got it good.
So there's like, tips on Reddit, like always make sure you take photos of your asshole before you go
you
in
gotta
so
prove
they
it was
can't
clean.
screw you over.
That's where they get you. It's on the medical bidet.
And when you do, though, that medical bill, you only have to pay it like $10 a month. So, like,
Yeah, it's fine.
fuck them. Yeah.
Not too bad, I guess.
People complain too much about their prostate exams.
Or their medical bills.
Yeah, they're medical debt in general.
You don't actually have
Grow
to,
up.
You don't actually have to pay that.
No, it's called
In
bankruptcy.
full,
File
yeah.
it.
I declare bankruptcy. Have you guys ever had a prostate exam?
No.
I have Crohn's disease, so I've had many a finger up my asshole.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
It's not that fun.
doesn't sound like it.
Like,
I guess
we
it's-
hype it up. Like, we're like, oh, dude, I can't wait to turn 40 and get a prostate exam. But I will
Do
say
we?
it's a little overrated.
No, we don't. I think that was definitely that was a good joke. I like that. Yeah, I don't like the fingers in my butt, but a tongue up the butt, that's another story, bro. You find a girl who does that, keep her. A doctor who does that, and keep
Right.
him around.
A little bit of A, a little bit
Yeah,
of B.
you definitely bring her home to mom.
And then she'll eat her asshole too.
Anyway, get back on story here. I think that reached its natural conclusion.
Yeah.
Like
I think
many-
there's only so much asshole talk we can
Yeah.
do on the podcast.
I could go another hour.
Yeah, we easily could. British soldiers on the edges of the Ramree Island swamps, waiting for the Japanese to emerge, reported hearing night after night horrifying screams just randomly, followed by gunshots, followed by silence. Rinse, repeat.
Yeah, where did the crocodiles get guns from?
I know, dude. These animals are.
They're evolving.
Actually, there is one
Okay,
more thing they would
Dad.
hear after the gunshots, and maybe like a little more screaming. They would just hear like kind of crunching and rolling.
Oh God.
Yeah. There was actually a naturalist, or future naturalist, I should say, among the British forces that night. Bruce Wright participated in the battle. And he recorded what he heard on one night in particular. And this is verbatim what he said. That night, February 19th, 1945, was the most horrible that any member of the motor launch crews ever experienced. The crocodiles, alerted by the din of warfare and the smell of blood, gathered among the mangroves, lying with their eyes above the water, watchfully alert for their next meal. With the ebb of the tide, the crocodiles moved in on the dead, wounded, and uninjured men who'd become mired in the mud. The scattered rifle shots in the pitch-black swamp, punctured by the screams of the wounded men crushed in the jaws of the huge reptiles, and the blurred, worrying sound of spinning crocodiles made a cacophony of hell that has rarely been duplicated on Earth. At dawn, the vultures arrived to clean up what the crocodiles had left. Of the 1,000 Japanese soldiers that entered the swamps of Ramree, only about 20 were found alive.
Oh, so the crocodiles are like your friend who gets chicken wings and just doesn't clean the bone off?
They ate enough.
That was one of the most like beautifully horrific descriptions I've ever heard in my life. That dude, does that guy have a book? Like I'm
Yeah, it's from
I'm
a book.
checking that
It's from
out,
a book he
bro.
wrote. What is it fucking called?
that was amazing. Like eat your heart out, David Attenborough. Like that was.
Bruce Wright's book is called...
I bet he had a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, he's a naturalist. Naturalists are good at writing.
Yeah, I forget what his book's called, but that's from his book.
No free ads. We're not giving them.
Yeah, no free ads. Fuck this dude. Yeah. In another memoir from another guy who was in the battle, Jack Jacob, he was in the Indian Army. He wrote, over 1,000 soldiers of the Japanese garrison retreated into the crocodile-infested mangrove swamps. We went in with boats and interpreters using loudhailers, so using megaphones or whatever, asking them to come out. Not a single one did. So they'd be like, please surrender for the love of God. Saltwater crocodiles, some of them over 20 feet in length, frequented these waters. It is not difficult to imagine what happened to the Japanese who took refuge in the mangrove.
That's rough.
Yeah. So the 20 Japanese soldiers who did come out of the swamp and surrendered, and by the way, the Japanese never surrendered. Very rarely surrendered. So these guys were like, enough is enough. Like, too many people have been eaten by crocodiles. God damn it. They told the British what happened. That essentially all that shit happened. The crocs ate the living and the dead.
It's like a top two way to go, though, right? It's like getting eaten by a crocodile, dying in your sleep.
No, feels like a bottom one way to go.
Yeah. That's made up to my
What would be a worse way to go?
Than this? Dude, I don't know. I would rather get eaten by a shark in the Indianapolis situation. Like, easily would rather get eaten by a fucking shark dealing with the Indianapolis.
But I mean, the sharks would be bottom first. Would probably be bottom first both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like you would feel your manhood being squished.
Right. Well, maybe they get your skull first. Maybe they just pop up and grab your head.
Suicide by croc, you just gotta dive head first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these fucking Japanese soldiers, crocs ate the living and the dead, essentially, and like the other people, while that was happening, just sat there and listened to their friends' bones and skulls be fucking crushed in these crocodile mouths until there were only about 20 left. Now, like I said, they ate the living and the dead, so some of these people died from like disease and probably snake bites and shit like that too, or just bleeding out. But they were absolutely
I think
feasting.
I'd take my chance with the crocs over the sharks. There's a few people in Louisiana that have no problem with these crocs.
No. Are there saltwater crocs in Louisiana?
No,
Yeah, but they don't.
gators,
They don't
but
wrestle them at night. You know what I'm saying? They got.
in the water either.
As they're dehydrated and haven't eaten for like 2 days.
Yeah, but
Yeah, there is shark wrestling, or there is crocodile wrestling. There's no shark wrestling.
Right.
So you'd have a better chance.
alligator
Croc.
wrestling. So it's a cousin of croc, but you're supposed to just run in a zigzag, right? That's how you avoid
You can't
these?
run in a swamp.
In a thick mud.
They're in a place where they can't run.
Dan, this is what people call toxic masculinity. All right, why do they just run in zigzag, idiots? I could have outrun all those crocodiles
easily.
So yeah,
No, they're supposed to be really fast on land too.
yeah, they are. And you're not supposed to zigzag. You're supposed to just
you ever
pick.
s-
You're
That's
supposed to
if you're
pick
getting shot at by like arrows or like a gun. Like I don't think crocodiles are
because
zigzag.
the
runners.
crocs and alligators they run straight. So you need to zig or zag. Because if you zig and then zag, you just run back into their fucking
straight
path.
line, yeah.
But that's all I
Zigging or are
got.
we zagging? You zig, I zag.
That's all I got. That is the Ramree Island crocodile massacre.
Good lord.
I mean, that doesn't feel like too big of an L, though. Like, that seems like a justified dub by the animals.
They all had guns and bayonets.
Well, there's only so much ammunition. I would still say the biggest L we took was definitely the emus.
You think so?
It was just, we just gave up.
I mean, I'd say coronavirus was a bigger L to the animals than the Emu War.
I would just say
Bat virus killed how many people?
Oh, you mean manufactured lab
Right.
virus?
I do think the lab leak is
Well, I think that's
probably
pretty
what's up.
accepted.
But
yeah, the lab
let's
leak.
not get.
But
We
I
don't
mean,
need to get
okay,
into the weeds
even
of that.
if we spilled the virus, but I'd be like, hey, here, Chang, like put this in the new.
This is not the
Oops,
show for it.
spilled it.
Boosh.
yeah. Plenty of those, but all right, fine. Maybe the emu one was more embarrassing, but if we're talking about just like the worst way to lose on the field, getting crushed to death by a fucking crocodile. This is basically that scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom at the end where they all just keep fucking falling off the bridge and getting just ripped to pieces. Dude, this is brutal. Can you imagine being a British soldier like on the edge of that? And just like every once in a while there's ah! And then like a rifle pop. Yeah. And then and then nothing. And then that happens again like 20 minutes later.
The din of warfare gave way to the crunching of bones.
A cacophony of evil.
Yeah. Oh man, British people are just born better writers than
They are.
What is it about?
I don't know why they have
I think do they read more as kids or something? I don't know.
They're funnier. They're drier.
Yeah. We're just a watered down version of all of that.
Our beer is more watered down,
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah, but their food sucks.
Their food does suck.
and our women are hotter.
Boom. What'd you guys learn today?
A lot, dude. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. That was great. This was entertaining. I felt like I was listening to like a really awesome history podcast, even though I'm like technically on it.
Yeah, try to partake.
A little more participation next time.
No, that was fascinating.
Was there anything that stuck out to you?
Like I said, yeah, that guy's description, the British naturalist's description of the carnage was great. What was his name again? It was
Bruce Stanley Wright.
Bruce Stanley Wright with W-R-I-G.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, if you're listening, props, bro.
And he wrote that book 22 years after this happened.
It was vividly in his mind.
Yeah. He never forgot that night.
No.
That would be like, just like, I like someone needs to make that movie.
Yeah, dude.
There is, by the way.
He became a naturalist because of it, though. Like, he was like, this haunted me so much, I needed to understand.
I need to understand what happened. There is a terrible trailer for a shitty version of this movie that makes the Nicolas Cage Indianapolis movie look like fucking Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
But there's not a real movie made about this situation. It would be a great horror movie. They did make like a hurricane movie where like crocodiles eat people or alligators eat people or something, but
Yeah, I learned that I will
Sharknado.
never, ever step foot on this place.
in Myanmar.
Myanmar can
Myanmar?
eat a dick.
Yeah. No, you don't want to.
Crossing that off the map.
You've been to Thailand, haven't you?
Thailand is awesome.
You were close.
Well, my friend got bitten by a monkey and had to get rabies shots.
Did they kill the monkey?
No, it's
They never
monkey
caught it?
Got away.
No, it's Monkey Island, and there's just a shit ton of monkeys, and they say don't go near them. And he, of course, grabbed his selfie stick, laid down with a bunch of them, and they're like, Connor. He was like, oh shit, guys, what do I do? Because he just was covered in like 30 monkeys. They're like, stand up slowly, and he's like trying to stand up slowly, and then just he gets like scratched, and we didn't know if it broke the skin, but just to be safe, they gave him like 3 rabies shots.
Yeah.
Good God.
You rode an elephant there too, right?
I did not ride an elephant. We did because that's like considered like abusive or whatever. We did like a non-riding place. And so we went to the one we thought would be like not fucked up to the animals. But then like there was a little baby and like the mom wasn't there. So it was like they just took this baby elephant from its mom. Like even though we're not riding them, it's still kind of fucked up.
Well, hopefully it was orphaned, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
don't
were just
know.
raising an orphan.
But like as we were driving there, like, you know how we'll see like, you know, cows
Right.
grazing and stuff. We just saw like guys on elephants' horsebacks with like giant like scythes, like slicing grain and shit.
Oh, really?
They ride like all around it. It was crazy seeing that.
rad.
I was like, yeah, Thailand is another world. It's super cheap, and you can party your dick off, and also have a really good cultural experience.
Don't get arrested with marijuana.
Don't do drugs in Thailand. Don't even fuck with. Just get drunk.
Yeah. 100%.
Because you'll go to jail for a long time.
And the U.S. Embassy, I feel like it's just like, you knew.
Yeah,
You
just
knew.
don't fuck with that shit. Bro.
Yeah, come on. What do you
Same
want
with
us
like
to?
Same with like Japan and shit too.
Japan, well, the one you don't want to do it in is
Japan's not as bad.
Singapore.
Yeah,
Singapore will
Singapore-
literally like execute you for that.
Well, they'll at least lash you, right?
Dude, no, drug,
Good
like
Lord.
weed is like a executable offense
Yeah,
there. It's
yeah.
fucking
I'd just
wild.
be scared, like I'd like accidentally come into contact with it.
I would,
at
I'm
that
like,
point.
going to Singapore is terrifying to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with anything like that.
Isn't it also one of like the richest cities in
Oh, it's incredible. It's super clean.
Yeah.
They're like dystopian.
It's because
Sing-
they're not all pot smokers.
Yeah.
they take care of their
They're not
surroundings.
lazy.
See what marijuana does.
Yeah.
Who is this episode's Hitler?
The emus.
The evilest person in this episode?
No, I guess fucking the sharks or the snakes or something like that, man. They literally did like small scale genocide on.
I'm gonna say the 20
Stranded people.
Japanese soldiers that gave up.
Yeah, that didn't die with their brethren.
They didn't die with honor. They died like cowards,
I agree.
probably at home.
Yeah.
If you're listening this, the 20 survivors
Of
cowards.
Ramree Island. You bastards. Just pathetic. No man left behind.
I would have wrestled that damn gator.
I wonder if like one
Saltwater
guy
crocodile.
got a gator.
You got to think they at least got one.
Or got a croc, I mean. But
Got a
yeah, like
croc.
you got to think, like
I
somebody.
mean, how many bullets does it take to kill? I mean, they're 20 feet long. That's another story, I guess. But I mean, if like, okay,
They kind of have their own body armor.
A 20-foot long crocodile's right there. I'm stuck in the mud. I guess once it bites your leg, you're shit out of luck. But they probably killed a bunch of them back, right? Like, even if a crocodile's biting your leg and you have a machine gun, you're unloading right into that. bitch.
Right.
You're-
Right.
And
Most of them, I would assume, had bolt action rifles, but there were definitely machine guns there too.
Yeah.
But even still, you're like, like over and over
yeah.
again. Then you're just like stabbing the shit out of it with your bayonet. But I mean,
Yeah.
these things are fucking like dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're huge.
And they have little tiny brains. So like, I don't know, if you miss the brain, what are you hitting?
You're just hitting armor.
Yeah.
Like, it's strong
Or like just
skin that's like
you just
thicker
need-
than body armor.
Have you ever seen that video of the crocodile? Like, it's like at a zoo or something, or like at a croc area, but like they're in, like, it's a zoo basically, but it's in a different country, I think, and they just throw a bunch of fucking like raw chickens into the, or some raw meat into the
Oh, yeah. It's
enclosure.
just like- just
but they
white
all they,
water.
like this one croc goes for it, and there's it gets like he accidentally steps on another croc's like open mouth, and that croc immediately clamps down, rolls over, and rips the croc's leg off, and the croc doesn't even notice.
I've seen this shit, kind of.
He's like, oh, bummer.
So when you go to Costa Rica, there's a bridge that you can go to, and like you can feed these saltwater, like wild saltwater
Nope.
crocodile
Nope.
chickens. Like
if
you
it's
can
like a
you can buy like
landlocked
chickens
bridge?
that you can just kind of throw off the bridge, and there's like just a swarm of like hundreds of crocs.
Yeah,
And they all just go ballistic over the chickens.
yeah.
That would
It's free food.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Wait, a live chicken?
No, but like freshly dead
Okay.
chickens,
Did you
yeah.
film it when you did it?
No.
Why
We
would-
just-
He lived in the moment, man.
Yeah, we're just
That's good. I respect
not a
that.
phone in sight.
I saw that movie with Sean Penn where he's like a nature photographer and he's like, aren't you going to take the picture? He's like, sometimes I don't. I just like to live in the moment.
Walter Mitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you pretentious dick. but
Great.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wait,
Cool.
was that the Ben Stiller movie where he like skateboards in Iceland or something?
Yeah. It's a Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
That movie sucked.
It was stupid. Yeah. It's pretty dumb. It was fine, but it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got for today. As always, again, like and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify. Leave a review on iTunes if you can. We've been getting some good ones lately.
Yep. Check us out on Patreon if you like this content and you want more. Check us out on Instagram, Softcore History at Instagram. Check out Boosh.
What's up at What's Up Boosh?
Or
on-
just read the Softcore History Instagram. I've got memes up there all the time.
Dude, this is
Coming
the
out.
best meme writer on earth. I swear to God, if you want just like a good laugh every day, follow
I
him on
still
Instagram.
didn't do any meme as good as your Rubles meme. That
Oh,
one
no,
did.
you've done a lot of memes I like better than that one.
That one got the most likes though.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes.
Who's topical? That doesn't. I don't value things by likes. I mean, I'll show
Likes,
you.
listens.
I'll
That's
show.
like saying CBS comedies are the best in the world.
Yeah, 2.5 Men is the greatest TV comedy of all time. Or Big Bang Theory is the greatest TV comedy of all time. Yes. I like.
Booze mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, exactly. But Boosh is legitimately the best memer on the fucking internet. Follow him on Instagram.
Actually makes his stuff, doesn't steal them.
Steals nothing.
You guys are so nice.
It's true.
I feel so loved and accepted right now. Thank you.
But yeah, that's all I got for today. So for Alex Buscemi, not Jake Goldman, and Dan Regester.
You just got soft served.